Welcome back to Fashion here. So time for my review of spring qualifying for the 2024 Brazilian Grand Prix. Obviously, you can see things look a little bit different. This is something I've been kind of getting ready for. I think it was actually meant for the next triple header, just as something to trial for the end of the season, but got it finished a little bit early and had a bit of time this morning. So figured we'll get this, try this out this weekend, see how it goes. So, start of spring qualifying one, overcast weather to start the session, not no rain yet. Of course, a bit of a surprise for me, waking up not seeing the news earlier, was that Behrman was in for Kevin Magnussen. Magnussen feeling ill, and Haas announced that he would be out for the rest of the weekend. So, Behrman makes his third super sub appearance of the season for Haas. Leclerc starts the laps. He obviously goes P1, but quickly you can see that there was quite high track evolution as every driver it seemed saying crossing the finish line was basically moving up into P1. After the first run to spring qualifying one, Bottas, Stroll, Sainz, Zhou, and Colapinto were your drivers in the bottom five. With 2 minutes to go, drivers go up to their final runs, and it turns out that for Aston Martin, it was a pretty poor session with Alonso, Ocon, Tsunoda, Stroll, and Zhou. Your five drivers out. Norris set the benchmark in spring qualifying one with a 19477. So pretty good time from Norris. Piastri P2 in the other McLaren, so McLaren looking very, very good early on. Other drivers with good laps in spring qualifying one, Albon in the Williams in P3. You had Behrman in the Haas P7, so that was pretty good as well. But yeah, really, really rough session for the two Aston Martins, both being knocked out in spring qualifying one. And then, of course, you have Zhou basically been glued to P20 qualifying almost every session since the start of the year, and he was about 2 seconds off his teammate Bottas. So yeah, not ideal for him. So moving into, let's see if we can get this right. Okay, so moving into spring qualifying two, um, Norris set the benchmark very, very early, 109.063, and that would actually be his time at the end of the session as well. So only one lap in spring qualifying two, so pretty good job from Norris. After the first runs, Colapinto, Bottas, Behrman, Hulkenberg, and Lawson were the drivers in the bottom five, but those three drivers had not set a time yet when I made that note. Perez basically enters the pits very, very late in the session, so pretty much all the drivers did one run in spring qualifying two, but Perez basically did one run with 6 tenths, I think, or so off of Max, then tried to do another run, but then they didn't have time to do the second run. So, yeah, not a great session from Perez here, as he is one of the five drivers knocked out in spring qualifying two, along with Hamilton, a bit of a surprise in the Mercedes, but given how tough it has been to drive, and Hamilton's honestly has been knocked out in Q2 pretty often the last 2 or 3 months or so, I would say. Hulkenberg also out, a bit of a surprise, out-qualified by Behrman there. For his first time at the track, at a track that Hulkenberg actually historically very, very good at. That's something I mentioned in my preview video a couple days ago. Perez out, Colapinto out as well, and Bottas as well. Not a big surprise. Tremendous effort getting the Sauber out of Q1 as it is. So yeah, not a big surprise to see Bottas at the bottom of the heap in Q2. So just taking a look at the timesheet from Q2, again, you do have a McLaren 1-2, so with Norris ahead of Piastri. Let's see if I can see the time. The gap I think between Norris and Piastri, tenth and a half of a second or so, so much closer than in spring qualifying one. But you can pretty much see that again, McLarens are very, very fast in this session. Just seeing if there's any other surprises as well. Of course, again, I think a bit of a surprise, Behrman getting in to Q3's first session in the half, obviously on short notice. I know he had FP1 like everyone else did, but again, a bit of a surprise there. His first time at the track. Lawson also, good job as well for him getting into Q3 in the RB. Pretty good result for him. So, we move into spring qualifying 3, and let's see. So, first laps on the board, the McLarens set the benchmark, but after that, Behrman actually lost his time. because he basically went over track limits at turn 2, which of course is the first, is it the second, yeah, the second corner of the Senate S's, I think. So unfortunate for him there. But McLaren's benchmark a 108.9, very, very good time, and they basically go first and second on the timesheets. I think they actually had time for a second lap. So after the first runs, Norris was ahead of Piastri, like it had been Q1 and Q2, but Piastri actually pips Norris on his second lap with 15 seconds left on the clock. So very, very good job from Piastri. Verstappen sets his one time as well, but he was only able to go fourth. So looking at the times from Q3, and then Behrman lost his time, and then unfortunately for him, probably because of a lack of fuel, basically we didn't have enough fuel in the car to set a second run. So looking at so that means that Piastri, bit of a surprise there, takes pole position for the sprint. Let's see, what was his time? A 108.899, so breaking below the 109s. Pretty good time, still not quite as good as we saw in like 2019, 2020, but we are getting closer to some of those times finally breaking into the single digits and qualifying for the first time, I believe, in this set of regulations. So taking a look at your grid for the sprint tomorrow, it will, of course, be Piastri on pole, Norris P2, Leclerc P3, Verstappen P4. That will definitely be quite spicy having Verstappen directly behind Norris. We'll see if anything, what shenanigans happen into turn 1. I think McLaren's are clearly the fastest car this weekend. So really Verstappen's only chance at getting anywhere near Norris will be at the start. P5 Sainz, pretty good, decent result for him, I guess. I saw some stat online where he's been P5 in every single sprint qualifying, so that's a bit of a fun one. 6 for Russell, I think that's the best he could have done. 7th, Gasly, great job for him. Same with Lawson in 8th. 9th, Albon, good result for him as well. 10th, Behrman, of course, with no time set in Q3, but still decent result for him. 11th, Hamilton, 12th, Hulkenberg, 13th, Perez, 14th, Colapinto, 15th, Bottas, 16th, Alonso, 17th, Ocon, 18th, Tsunoda, 19th, Stroll, and 20th will be Zhou Guanyu. Of course, Verstappen's taking his 5-place grid penalty, but that will not be applied to sprint qualifying. That will be for the main qualifying tomorrow. So Verstappen will start P4 for the sprint tomorrow, but then, of course, for the Grand Prix, it'll be 5 places below wherever he qualified. So assuming no one else gets any other penalties or anything strange happens. So there you go. There's my review of sprint qualifying for the 2024 Brazilian Grand Prix. I think in terms of just predictions for the sprint, assuming it runs, assuming we don't have too much rain, I think if it's McLaren 1-2 after the first couple laps, I think McLaren will probably ask the drivers to swap positions just to give Norris that extra point. Because you never know how valuable each point would be in the context of the drivers' championship. If Norris, for whatever reason, loses positions on the start, for example, to Leclerc, and you have Piastri, Leclerc, Norris as your 1, 2, 3, they'll probably just finish that way. Obviously, the sprint's pretty short. If it's raining, I think all bets will be off on